Welcome back to Gold Rush Reporter, your trusted source for honest, research-based insights on precious metals. I'm your host and silver analyst, here to help you make smarter stacking and investing decisions. If you're serious about understanding silver, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that can save you money and maximize your returns. The best and worst silver options for stacking and investing. Whether you're new to stacking or you've been building your silver collection for years, this breakdown will help you know exactly what to buy and what to avoid. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy learning about gold and silver with a professional edge. And if you find this breakdown helpful, hit that like button. It really supports the channel and helps us reach more silver stackers like you. Also, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What kind of silver are you stacking right now? As a silver analyst, I often get asked one simple question. What kind of silver should I actually be buying, and what should I stay away from? That's a smart question, because not all silver is created equal. Some options look appealing at first glance, but when it comes time to resell or trade, they can lose value fast. So, in this series, I'll walk you through 3 of the worst and 3 of the best silver options for stacking and investing. But first, let's define what those 2 terms actually mean, stacking and investing. When people talk about investing in silver, they usually mean buying physical silver, bars, coins, or rounds, with the goal of selling later for a profit when the market price rises. That's short to medium-term thinking. Stacking, on the other hand, is more about preserving wealth over time. Stackers convert their cash into silver not to make quick profits, but to protect their purchasing power from inflation and currency devaluation. Silver acts like a savings account that holds real value, especially when paper money loses trust. Both approaches are valid. Investors chase opportunity, stackers chase stability. But whichever side you're on, knowing what type of silver to buy is critical. Now let's start by exposing the 3 worst forms of silver for stacking and investing. Coming in at number 3, we have silver shot. At first glance, silver shot looks beautiful. Small, shiny pellets of silver, often sold in bags or jars. You might find them at coin shops, online bullion dealers, and even through private sellers on social media. But here's the catch. Silver shot isn't stamped, certified, or marked with purity and weight. That means when you try to sell it, there's no official verification of what you actually have. Refiners might accept it, but they'll pay you well below the spot price because they need to melt it down and verify purity themselves. To put that into perspective, if silver is trading at $20 per ounce and you bring in 10 ounces of silver shot, a refiner might only pay you $160 instead of $200. That's a 20% loss right off the top. So, while silver shot may look appealing or artistic, it's not practical for serious investors or stackers. It lacks liquidity, trust, and resale value. If your goal is wealth preservation or long-term stacking, stay away from silver shot. In the next part, we'll continue with the remaining items on our worst silver list and explore why sterling silver and high premium collector coins might not be the great investments they appear to be. Stay tuned. This is where things get interesting. Now that we've already discussed why silver shot is one of the worst options for stacking or investing, let's move on to the next one on the list. Sterling silver. I know some people might be surprised by this because at first glance, sterling silver sounds like a great deal. It's real silver, it's shiny, and you can often find it cheap at estate sales, antique shops, or thrift stores. But when it comes to long-term stacking or investment value, it falls short for several important reasons. Sterling silver contains only 92.5% pure silver. The remaining 7.5% is usually copper, or another metal that gives it strength and durability for making jewelry, utensils, and decorative items. That's why it's called sterling. It's strong enough to be used for functional pieces like spoons, plates, and candlesticks. The problem is that this lower purity reduces its overall melt value. And when you try to sell it, refiners will have to separate the silver from the other metals, which means extra work for them and less payout for you. Even though some stackers might argue that they can find sterling silver items for almost nothing at yard sales or auctions, that's not a reliable strategy for most people. The truth is, many of those so-called sterling items might not be pure silver at all. They could be silver-plated or made from base metals with a thin silver coating. This kind of plating has little to no real value in the bullion market. Unless you're an expert who can instantly identify genuine sterling marks and spot fakes, there's a good chance you could overpay for something that isn't even worth melting. Now let's talk about resale. If you do manage to gather a decent amount of sterling silver, selling it can be a real challenge. Local coin shops or bullion dealers rarely buy sterling directly because of the refining costs involved. You'll probably end up taking it to a refiner, where you'll receive less than the spot price, similar to what happens with silver shot. The refinery might pay you 85% or 90% of the melt value depending on purity and condition. And that difference can add up fast if you've spent time and money collecting it. There's also the issue of practicality. Imagine trying to store dozens of spoons, candle holders, and decorative trays. They take up space, they're awkward to weigh, and they aren't uniform like coins or bars. When you're stacking for long-term security or liquidity, consistency matters. You want to be able to calculate your holdings quickly and sell them easily when needed. Sterling silver just doesn't offer that convenience. However, if you're an experienced collector and you know how to find genuine sterling pieces for a fraction of their silver content value, then you might be able to profit from flipping them or selling to a refiner. But for most stackers and investors, it's too much work and too much risk for too little reward. The goal with stacking is simplicity, efficiency, and security, and sterling doesn't check those boxes. Now that we've covered sterling silver, let's move on to the final category in the worst list: high premium collector coins. These are the ones that often catch the eye because of their limited designs, mint marks, or special editions. They look beautiful and they're fun to own, but when you look at them as investments, they can actually hurt your returns. High premium coins are often priced far above their silver content value. For example, while 1 ounce of silver might cost $20, some collectible coins sell for $100, $200, or even more depending on rarity. That extra cost is called the numismatic premium. It's the amount you pay for design, history, or collectability, not for the silver itself. The danger is that these premiums usually shrink when silver prices rise. When the market moves up, buyers care less about collectability and more about raw silver content. That means you could spend hundreds of dollars on a single collectible coin. But when you try to sell it later, you might only get the melt value or slightly above it. The numismatic demand can vanish overnight. So, if your primary goal is to build a silver position that grows in value with the market, then high premium coins are not the right choice. In the next part, we'll shift gears and talk about the best silver products to buy for stacking and investing. These are the ones that hold their value, are easy to sell, and give you the most silver for your money. Now that we've gone through the 3 worst silver options for stacking and investing, silver shot, sterling silver, and high premium collector coins, let's talk about the ones that actually make sense. These are the types of silver that give you real value, liquidity, and reliability. If you're serious about building a solid stack that holds up over time, This is where you should be focusing your attention. Let's start with 1 ounce silver bullion coins. These are probably the most recognized and widely traded form of silver in the world. Coins like the American silver eagle, the Canadian maple leaf, the Austrian Philharmonic, and the Australian kangaroo are all great examples. Each of these coins is backed by a government, stamped with purity, weight, and the year of issue. This makes them trusted everywhere, from coin shops to private trades, because you don't have to convince anyone that they're genuine silver. The American silver eagle, for instance, is 999 fine silver and weighs exactly 1 troy ounce. It's easily the most famous silver bullion coin on the planet. Yes, the premiums on these coins can sometimes be higher than generic rounds or bars, especially when demand spikes, but the liquidity and trust you get in return often make up for it. People all over the world know what an eagle is, and they'll pay close to or even above spot when buying it from you. The Canadian maple leaf is another excellent choice. It's 0.9999 fine silver, which means it's slightly purer than most other bullion coins. It also comes with advanced security features, like radial lines and a micro-engraved maple leaf for anti-counterfeiting purposes. Other solid options include the Austrian Philharmonic, which is beautifully designed and widely accepted, or the Australian kangaroo, known for its yearly changing design that appeals to collectors and investors alike. The beauty of government-issued bullion coins is that they combine trust with flexibility. You can sell them easily to coin shops, bullion dealers, or private buyers. They're recognized everywhere, which means you'll never struggle to find a market for them. And because they're government-backed, their authenticity is rarely questioned, giving both buyers and sellers confidence in every transaction. However, there is one thing to keep in mind: premiums. During times of high demand, premiums on these coins can rise sharply. For example, when silver demand surged recently, some dealers were charging up to $10 over spot for American silver eagles. That's a lot. But if you're patient and shop around, you can still find reasonable deals, especially from private sellers or local shops instead of big online bullion sites. If you can't find eagles or maples at fair prices, look into other trusted bullion coins. The Mexican Libertad, British Britannia, or South African Krugerrand are also good choices, depending on what's available in your region. The key point is that these coins have global recognition, solid purity, and reliable resale value. 1 ounce bullion coins are also easy to store and track. They're consistent in size and weight, which helps you keep accurate records of your stack. You can store them in tubes or monster boxes for convenience, and they're easy to sell individually if you ever need quick cash. That flexibility is part of what makes them so appealing to stackers. The best part is that, unlike collectible coins, bullion coins move directly with the spot price of silver. If silver rises by 20%, your coins rise roughly the same amount. There's no guessing, no waiting for a buyer who appreciates the design, just straightforward value based on metal content. So, when we talk about stacking silver the smart way, 1 ounce government-issued bullion coins are definitely at the top of the list. They are liquid, trusted, and widely recognized. Exactly what every serious stacker should aim to hold. In the next part, we'll explore another favorite category among silver stackers: junk silver. It might sound unappealing, but it's actually one of the most practical and historically proven forms of silver to own. You'll see why so many analysts, including myself, still recommend it as part of a balanced stack. Junk silver might sound like something worthless, but in the silver world, it's actually one of the smartest and most practical ways to stack. When we say junk silver, we're referring to old US coins, dimes, quarters, and half dollars that were minted in 1964 or earlier. These coins contain 90% silver and 10% copper, which gives them strength for circulation, but still makes them highly valuable for their silver content. They might not look shiny like modern bullion, but they hold real, tangible value that stackers and investors have trusted for decades. The reason junk silver is so popular is simple. It's easily recognized, widely available, and typically sold at or near the silver spot price. You can find these coins through local coin shops, online bullion dealers, or even from private sellers and estate sales. Because they were once regular currency, people recognize them instantly, and that familiarity gives them credibility. When you hold a handful of pre-1965 coins, you're holding history, real money that once circulated, when silver still backed the value of the US dollar. For stackers, junk silver has another big advantage. It's extremely liquid. You can sell it quickly, almost anywhere, without needing to explain what it is or prove its authenticity. Everyone in the precious metals community knows that pre-1965 coins are 90% silver. That means they're easy to value, easy to trade, and even easier to trust. This makes junk silver an excellent choice for anyone who might need to liquidate part of their stack quickly in an emergency. Another key point is that junk silver offers flexibility in trade. Because these coins come in smaller denominations, you can use them for fractional exchanges. For example, instead of selling an entire 1-ounce silver round, you could trade a few quarters or dimes for small transactions. This makes junk silver a useful form of barter material in uncertain times, which is why many long-term stackers keep a portion of their holdings in junk silver. Junk silver also has a built-in layer of authenticity. Counterfeiting these coins isn't common because the effort and cost aren't worth the potential gain. Think about it. Why would anyone go through the trouble of faking a single silver dime or quarter that's only worth a few dollars? On top of that, making fake US coins is considered a federal crime. So, when you buy junk silver, you're getting something that's both genuine and legally protected against fraud. Another thing I like about junk silver is that it feels like real money, not just an investment piece. You can literally hold history in your hands. Coins that may have been used decades ago to buy groceries, gas, or even a newspaper. That connection to the past adds a certain satisfaction that bullion bars or rounds don't always provide. It's a reminder of when currency had real backing, and that emotional value resonates with a lot of stackers. From an analytical standpoint, junk silver also performs well in terms of value preservation. Because premiums on junk silver tend to stay close to spot price, your downside risk is limited. If the price of silver drops a little, you haven't overpaid much above melt value. But if silver prices rise, your junk silver moves up right along with it. That balance between affordability and potential growth makes it a smart, stable option for both new and experienced stackers. Right now, you can still find junk silver at decent prices through private trades or coin shows. And since it's becoming scarcer over time, with fewer coins entering circulation each year, it's likely to hold its value even better in the future. Some stackers are now viewing junk silver not just as a hedge, but as a limited resource that could become even more sought after later. In short, junk silver offers everything a smart stacker looks for: real value, liquidity, trust, and history. It's silver in its most practical and useful form. That's why, as a silver analyst, I always recommend keeping at least some portion of your stack in junk silver. In the next part, we'll discuss another top-tier choice for silver stacking: generic silver rounds and bars. These simple no-frills pieces are often the most affordable way to build your stack fast, and I'll explain exactly why they deserve a spot in every serious investor's collection. Generic silver rounds and bars are often the backbone of a serious stacker's collection. They don't carry the prestige of collectible coins or the history of junk silver, but they make up for it with value and volume. When you buy generic silver rounds, you're getting pure silver, typically 0.999 fine, in its simplest form. There's no fancy design, no government mint mark, and no added collectible premium. It's just raw silver, ready to be stacked. For investors focused on accumulating ounces, this is one of the most cost-effective ways to grow your holdings. The main advantage of generic rounds and bars is that you can often buy them at the lowest premiums over spot. Whether you're purchasing 1-ounce rounds or 10-ounce bars, you're paying for the silver content and little else. That makes them ideal for people who believe in silver's long-term potential and want to maximize the amount they own. They're also easy to store since bars stack neatly and efficiently and rounds fit perfectly in standard tubes, saving space and keeping your stack organized. Another reason investors favor generic silver is that it's widely recognized and trusted. These rounds are often produced by reputable private mints like Sunshine, Scottsdale, or APMEX, all of which use strict quality standards. Some even include security features like mint marks or anti-counterfeit technology. But even without those extras, their purity and simplicity speak for themselves. When you buy from trusted sources, you can rest assured that you're getting exactly what you paid for. Pure silver in a convenient form. That said, generic silver doesn't have the same potential for collectible appreciation as coins or limited editions. But that's not what it's meant for. The goal here is to build weight, to get as many ounces of silver as you can for the least amount of money. When the price of silver rises, your return is based purely on the metal's market movement, not on any collector premium that might come and go. This makes generic silver a straightforward and predictable investment. As a silver analyst, I often recommend that investors balance their stacks, a mix of junk silver, government-minted coins, and generic rounds or bars. Each serves a purpose. Junk silver for liquidity and barter potential, government coins for recognition and trust, and generics for bulk accumulation. Together, they form a well-rounded strategy that offers both security and growth potential. Ultimately, the best silver for stacking depends on your personal goals. If you want flexibility and fast resale options, junk silver and government coins are great. If your priority is building ounces at the lowest cost, generic rounds and bars are unbeatable. And if you like a bit of history and collectability, proof coins or limited issues might suit you. The key is understanding your objectives and stacking accordingly. Silver isn't just an investment, it's a store of value, a hedge against inflation, and a tangible asset that stood the test of time. Whether you're stacking for profit, protection, or passion, every ounce brings you closer to financial security and independence. And remember, it's not always about timing the market, it's about time in the market. The longer you hold, the more powerful silver's potential becomes. So, if you're serious about stacking and building real wealth, start today. Diversify your collection, understand your strategy, and stay disciplined. The silver market rewards patience and preparation. And who knows, the next big move in silver might already be on the horizon. Thanks for watching today's breakdown. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next analysis. This is Gold Rush Reporter, helping you navigate the world of precious metals with clarity and insight. Until next time, keep stacking smart and stay informed.